Well, it might interest you to know that the term budget padding is mostly peculiar to Nigeria's budgetary process. So you'll most likely not find budget padding in any dictionary. But that's not a challenge tonight, as we're being joined by people who understand the budgeting process. So let's ask the tough questions now, shall we? And joining us from Abuja is a senior special assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, House of Reps, Honorable Umar El Yakub. He was a member of the House of Representatives. Also in Abuja is a PDP senator representing Kaduna North in the National Assembly, Senator Suleiman Hunkuyi. And our third guest tonight is Mr. Awal Rafsanjani. He's the executive director of CISLAC, that's Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, and chairman, Transparency International, Nigeria. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the program tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Senator Hunkuyi, Nigerians would like to hear your side of the story. And the question is, were there plans in the past 4 years to pad the budget in any way?
Well, thank you very much. I think reasonably, we should first of all find the meaning of budget padding, which as I sit here, I do not know exactly what the meaning of budget padding really means. So it will be futile to attempt to go into a compound word or term used to describe a situation where at the end of the day you do not have a standard definition.
Senator Hunkuyi, let's try to look at it from the perspective of the statement that was released today. And the statement said to pad budgets with pet projects that will profit them. So we can look at it from that perspective. So was there any attempt to insert pet projects that will benefit them?
First of all, the reference was made 4 years ago till today. This is the 4th year running for the 8th National Assembly to have the benefit of attending to the budget. And in 4 years, this is the 4th year, 3 years have come and gone. And in my own opinion, my guess is simply as good as yours. If the term budget padding, as is being portrayed, is truly an existing issue, and it has happened within the last 3 years, what has the agencies in charge of arresting such matters done? Who and who have been arrested doing that? So, 3, quickly, you should understand the elder statesman, by every standard, has thrown this into the air. He was a former National Assembly member, a senator, by standing, and to my mind, whatever it is today, you cannot predict whatever that budget 2019 contains or it does not contain, or what has been altered or what has been preserved.
No, he spoke about the past 4 years, not just 2019.
The show of the National Assembly back to the executive before you can ascertain whether there is anything like alteration. But let us come back particularly to the issue in question. When you talk of budget padding, I risk to go into an attempt to define or understand what the meaning is. Is it an alteration? If budget padding by any means is an alteration, what is the intendment of Section 81? What is the intendment of Section 162 of the Nigerian Constitution?
Okay, Senator Hunkuyi, let's ask Mr. Rafsanjani. Let's ask him this question briefly. Mr. Rafsanjani, if you can hear me, Senator Hunkuyi, just let's take a moment now. Mr. Rafsanjani, the question is it possible to pad a budget?
Thank you very much. I think this issue, in my opinion, had continued to create some political misgiving. First, I think it has to do with the desperation of some members to showcase that they are actually they care for their constituency, and they want to see, something done in their constituency because of the failure of the executive at local and state level to be able to do projects that would, bring about development. Not knowing that, this is not within the actually powers and responsibility of the legislators, because the legislators, based on our law, they are responsible for making law, they are responsible for oversight, they are responsible for representation, and they are responsible for, what we call constituency accountability. So in the process of really trying to show to the electorate, to their constituency, that they are actually representing them, they want to make sure that there's a project, started in their constituency. So that was where the genesis of this whole budget padding, if there is, anyone that actually came. And I think, it is important we understand it from that perspective. Secondly, I think also, even if you accuse National Assembly of budget padding, definitely budget padding can only be done and implemented in collaboration with the executive, particularly the implementing agencies, because there's no way the National Assembly will just do the budget and then get this budget being implemented without, of course, the executive doing the same, because it is their responsibility to do that. I think it is important that we come back to the real issue. National Assembly has the responsibility, has the power to interrogate whatever budget proposal that has been sent by the executive. And in trying to do that, what is not allowed is to actually substitute self-hate, but they can look at if there's a budget that is not enough, the amount allocated in a particular project is not going to be enough, or it is not going to be useful to the nation economy. The National Assembly has the power to look at that thing. Therefore, they can eliminate duplication. They can eliminate corruption in the budget itself. They can also eliminate waste that is in the budget. And if these are some of the things that maybe perhaps the executive maybe perhaps think that these are actually not good, then there's need for consultation, there's need for dialogue. And that is what is absent in the whole process, because since 2015, that opportunity of sitting down to rub mind between the executive and the legislature, even before the budget is actually sent to the National Assembly, we missed that. So the antagonism that has been created, which I think it is unnecessary, because we are all talking about governance, is what is leading to all this. So the executive must know that the National Assembly has their power to actually look at the budget, eliminate what we can call duplication, waste, and maybe perhaps corruption in the budget.
Now, Mr. Rafsanjani,
they have the power.
Mr. Rafsanjani, now that you've brought the executive
make sure that,
into the discussion, pardon me, now that you've brought the executive into the discussion, let's bring in Honorable El Yaqub briefly and ask, do you think the executive is actually culpable in this allegation of budget padding, as it is?
Well, thank you very much. I wouldn't say the executive is culpable, but just like the distinguished senator has said, and indeed Mr. Rafsanjani, one needs to look at the process holistically. One needs to understand what a budget proposal is coming out from the executive to the legislature for consideration and approval. The executive has the right to initiate a budget, to propose, and to bring it forward by way of, through a process for the legislature to look at it and to investigate and to dialoguing with the executive, by way of the oversight and the, performances that you find before the budget is passed. MDS are invited by the legislature to come and, present what they have done with the previous budget, the performances of the previous budget, with a view to looking at the current budget and making suggestions and amendments. So I think it's a process that is engaging between the legislature and the executive. And the final outcome, which is the Appropriation Act, is supposed to be a harmonious document that has the inputs of both. Part of the responsibilities of a legislature is to oversight the activities and of the executive.
All right.
And that oversight includes one of the most important aspects, which is oversighting budget. and the performances of such budgets.
Honorable El
So
Yakub,
I would say that just like
you can round up your point, please.
Distinguished Senator has put it, one needs to understand what is this padding all about. Are you saying the legislature just on its own, after having received the budget proposals and having sat down at various levels, and the aggregate decision taken,
all right,
the committees.
Honorable El Yakub, it's interesting that you throw that question back at me.
That it will be passed
Honorable El Yakub,
by another.
If you can hear me, it's interesting that you're throwing that question back at me. Well, that's why you're there to actually answer that question. But we'll go on a quick break now, and when we come back, we'll look more into this issue. And yet again, the security situation in the country comes under the spotlight. And former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is calling for an end to the killings. We'll discuss that in a moment. Stay with us.